Hey everybody, what's going on? It is Shak, and I just wanted to take a couple of minutes here and give you my first update on our progress in the SSF Expedition League. If you've been following the progress at all of my last update, I kind of said we were at the point in Trade League where I was confident in the build's trade viability moving forward. Finished up a Cirrus 8 fight that was successful. The fight's still pretty buggy, so it cost a few portals to straight up bugs, but got Cirrus 8 done. And it was really successful in Trade League. So I've moved into what I really wanted to play, which was SSF. This is kind of the game mode that I enjoy the most, and I wanted to, again, start with Cold Dot, just as a way to show that it is viable in SSF from the start, still with no gear, kind of put some of those fears to rest that I've gotten a lot of feedback on since the patch notes. So it's going really well. I'll show you a couple things here. Let's start with progression. So the character's level 87. Almost level 88, doing really well. I spent a lot of time, and my next video is going to be on the way that I do my own Atlas. You can see my Atlas bonus is up, almost half completed already. I only have 5 Watchstones, but the bonus is really high, and that's kind of the method that I use to then kind of really push the leapfrog strategy and go nuts on the Watchstones without any drop in map sustain. So the mapping is going really strong. The damage is really good. I'll show you my gear, and then we'll get into the stash real quickly. I don't want to take up too much time because really it's just kind of a progress update. But yeah, it's going really well. We're on a 5-link, pretty nice Vol Regalia. I did find a Rhyme Gaze super early. I found this in the first Einhar unique helmet mission that I ran, or not mission, but fight that I ran. The wand is okay. It's just cold dot multi and some cold damage. We've just found a Beta Breath. Actually, this is like brand new. I just had to reconfigure a bunch of resistance skill tree points. So the skill tree is a little weird, but I wanted to accommodate this because it really ramped up both the damage and the energy shield. We got Uber Lab done. So we're running the dual curse right now, Elemental Weakness and Frostbite. Most of my gems, you can kind of see the XP there. Like this gem is literally just about leveled to 20. A lot of the gems are just shy of hitting level 20, so I'll be trying to roll some of them for 21 and flip some of them into 20% quality gems. But overall, it's going really well. The rings are looking good. Like I said, we got the Rhyme Gaze, got some decent movement speed boots, and all of the flasks are on automatic use. So I do not have to press a single flask ever with this setup, which is all of the use when full on these two, basically the second and fourth slot, and then the others are used when an adjacent is used. So they all go off the second I hit an enemy in maps. So the damage is pretty solid. I'm up over, I think at this point, I'm probably just under like 1 million serious DPS. So it's feeling really well. It's feeling strong. Obviously, I want to ramp up the energy shield a bit more, but that's going to come in time. So let's take a look really briefly at the stash. I just had all the stuff turned off. I just finished updating my, I got the new Redeemer hideout and just finished updating that. So, okay, couple of things. Currency is going insanely well. This league is awesome for SSF. I think it's potentially the best SSF league I've ever seen. Tujin is great for keeping up the currency. And you can see we've got a ton of currency in here for the kind of low progression that we're at. I mean, I'm pretty much a weekend SSF. We're sitting on triple-digit alchemies, a couple hundred alts, only one X, only one raw X, but that's okay. And almost 100 chaos. Like, we're doing really well, and that is the advantage of Cold Dot. For anyone who's wondering about playing Cold Dot in SSF, the biggest advantage that I keep telling people is once you set up your initial gear, you get on a 5-link, you get a decent wand, and you just get your basic gear, you can go for a very, very long time just banking currency and not having to upgrade your gear. A lot of these pieces I've been wearing since early maps, and they're still working out incredibly well. So it holds up really, really well. Part of it's being a spell build, so it kind of scales with gem levels and not necessarily with gear as much. So it's been really nice for building up currency. But you can see we've gotten some actually kind of insane drops. I'll go over that in just a second, but I want to show we're building up the Essence tab. Pretty soon I'll be farming Essences with a dedicated second character that I'm leveling up for specifically farming Essences for use in crafting some wands and other gear. The fragments are going really well. I actually, I'll show this, but I kind of got Aziri on farm already. You can kind of see I've got several of the mortal fragments, but I've done, I think, 8 Aziri fights so far. Div cards are going fine. I've traded in a bunch of sets. Fossils are getting up there. You can see I've hit pristine fossils with 2 different harvest flips, unfortunately. So trying to get more dense and frigid fossils, but it is what it is. Basically, everything's up off to a really good start. I have a tab set up for kind of my current crafting projects and then other things for harvest crafting. So I'm finally starting to get bases that are like eye level 84 from the expedition vendors and things like that. So it's really strong. Just filling up a bunch of stuff for basically for use later. I've got a leveling tab of kind of low and mid-level items, and then this I will get into, but I should have actually brought this into the other tab. So I do want to. I'll start here with plans for other builds. I've got a lot of the gear set up for Forbidden Right totems. So I want to get a second Kikazaru, and then pretty much I've got all the gear I want for setting up that to start. I found this early on, a 2120 Dominating Blow and a Triad Grip, so I'm setting up a build for that. And really what I wanted to highlight with the rest of these kind of unique looks is people ask all the time on stream, especially lately now that I'm actually in SSF, they ask about the viability of builds, and I'm trying to remind people just you're going to get stuff for builds. Like for instance, if I hadn't found the Soul Mantle, I'd be looking very, very hard at just straight up going over and playing Dom Blow. If I can find a Prism Guardian or a Shavs, I'll be pushing even further into the Cold Dot build. And this is the other thing that I wanted to show. Look at all of the build enabling or just kind of build defining uniques that I found already. And again, not even level 90 yet. I found a Sibyl's Lament, just minor detail that lets me run all my Ellie Reflect maps. We've got several shields for like Spectral Shield Throw, for General's Cry or Blade Flurry. Even stuff like Blight, the Gauntlet's Breast Stealer that I can use. I found both of the Ellie Hit jewels to be able to play specifically Avatar of Fire Ellie Hit if I want. Even things like Malgaro's Virtuosity and Grand Spectrum, just make a little casual SSF or a stacker. But Soul Taker, you've got all kinds of chest armor for, again, I don't know why I'm just finding random like Aura Stacker type gear, but several Canes of Unraveling. I have 2 of these. I have 2 of the Dying Breath, Sire of Shards. And like I said, you can see up here, I've already killed Aziri 8 times. I've been specifically looking for actually a Rumi's Concoction, which supposedly drops much more frequently off the 3 mini bosses before her room. So I've been basically farming that with all of my fragments, trying to get it. Haven't hit it yet, but I'm working on it. And again, all I really wanted to show is the progress is going great. The build's working awesome, and I'm just using it to farm up gear and to start actually crafting the other pieces for these builds so that when we have the full gear setup and the Atlas setup, we can pretty much just roll into the most powerful build that we have and just blast a bunch of content, which is very encouraging. So that's really it. That's what I wanted to show. I'm really, really excited about it. I've got a couple of things going on. So with Heist specifically, I've mentioned this before, and Zizzarin's put out several good videos on tips and tricks that are SSF specific. But right now, every time I get a smuggler stash, I'm getting a grocery list. I think it's called grocery list unique contract. I am going in there, opening every chest that I can, and then not completing the contract so that the next time it drops again. The reason is that is a unique contract that can drop cluster jewels. So I'm using that to kind of farm up cluster jewels and get as many as I can for later. So that's a nice SSF tip, especially run grocery list and don't complete it. And then every time you get a smuggler's cache, just run it again. Similarly, I'm working on getting down to eye level 83 zones in Delve and looking for a plus item level like area. The little areas have modifiers on them. And my plan is to find as long of a path as I can and basically do the same thing. Run that as much as I can without completing it and just start using that to collect item bases. So really, that's what I have going on. I'll do more update videos later, especially as we transition into either other builds or into like a low life focus, depending on what other items we drop. But yeah, the next video I have coming out will highlight my specific Atlas strategy that's been working really well for me. I don't know what that sound alert was, but anyway, thanks for watching. I'm Shak Central. I'll see you guys next time.